This is going to be the second part of section 3.2. This one's really quick because we've already done the graphing or the actual figuring out the ordered pairs. And in some cases, you're going to have one that instead of them being side by side, they're going to be in a table. So for this particular one, I'm just going to use 2x minus 5y is equal to 20. This will kind of allow us to use some negatives. And then a lot of times they'll have things that are set up in a table. So the x's and the y's, if they're not labeled, they should be labeled. You'll have the x's on one side and the y's on the other. And it's just like ordered pairs. The x on the left still, the y on the right. So in this particular one, we know that x is equal to 0. We know in this one that y is equal to 2, so we're trying to figure out what's missing. This one, it says that y is equal to 0. And then the last one, we're just going to use negative 5. So generally what I do, and you don't have to do this, but it makes it easier, is just to write out to the side. X is going to be equal to 0, y is going to be equal to 2, y is going to be equal to 0, and x is going to be equal to negative 5. And I think this just kind of helps you establish what exactly you need to do. So when I look at this one, I don't need to have to guess. I know that x is equal to 0. So in this case, 2 times 0 minus 5y is equal to 20. Well, anything times 0 is 0, so that just basically allows that to disappear. And then we have a negative y times 20. Well, because our variable is negative, then this also has to be negative. We're multiplying by the reciprocal. In this case, because it's a whole number, we're just dividing. A positive divided by a negative. That means that our number's got to be negative, remember. That just allows that to remove itself and get down to the single variable of y. 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4. We know it's a negative. So now we just go back and fill it in. So if I'm writing this ordered pair, it would just look like this. So on the next one, I know that y is equal to 2. So I'll just come back, substitute that in for the y. And I'm going to just solve it like I solve anything else. A negative times a positive is going to give me a negative. And then this is a negative number, so to move it to the other side, I have to use its opposite, which is a positive 10. Or if I do on one side, do on the other. That allows that to disappear. And then in this case, 2x is going to be equal to 20 plus 10, which is 30. Divide both sides by 2. And that's just going to leave you with 15. If I'm writing this one out as an ordered pair, this would be 15 and 2. And then you just keep going. For the y is equal to 0, kind of the same thing. Y is just substituted in, so that's going to be 2x minus 5 times 0 is equal to 20. So each one of these is kind of its own separate problem. Anything times 0 is 0, so this just becomes 2x is equal to 10. Divide them both by 2, and x is equal to 10. So I just enter in 10 here. If I was to write this as an ordered pair, it would be 10 and 0. For the last one, it's a negative 5. It's going to be equal to x. It's going to be 2 times the negative 5 minus 5y is equal to 20. Now I'm just keep going just like anything else. Positive times a negative is a negative. Because this is a negative number, to get rid of it, letters on one side, numbers on the other, I add 10 to both sides. That allows that to disappear. That's going to be negative 5 and 30. Divide them both by negative 5. A negative divided into a positive is going to give you a negative, so y is going to be equal to negative 6. If I was to write this one as an ordered pair, it would be negative 5 and negative 6. And that's exactly what we did before, except it's in the table. If I was to write these out, it would just be listed this way, and all we're doing is just slide them into the table.